President Draupadi Murmu addressed the joint sitting of the members of both houses on the first day of budget session on Wednesday. In her address, the President outlined key achievements of the government while also highlighting focus areas such as economic growth, infrastructure development, social justice, technological advancement and inclusive governance. The President mentioned how India is moving ahead in all spheres, especially from the last decade. Focusing on Operation Sindoor, President said it was a befitting reply to the face of terror, showcasing India's tri-service prowess. She said reforms undertaken by the government are being accelerated all around to fulfill the dream of Vikasit Bharat.
10-11 वर्ष में भारत ने हर क्षेत्र में अपनी नींव मजबूत की है। ये वर्ष 2047 तक विकसित भारत की तेज यात्रा का बहुत बड़ा आधार है। पिछले एक दशक में 25 करोड़ देशवासी गरीबी को हराकर गरीबी से बाहर निकल के सरकार के तीसरे कार्यकाल में गरीबों को सशक्त करने के लिए अभियान और तेजी से आगे बढ़ा है।
That the country has registered momentous growth in the manufacturing sector as well. She added that due to the vision of Make in India, many Indian products are reaching across the world and the dependence on foreign products has considerably reduced. President Murmu also appreciated growth in the space sector and said that India is on a path to have its own space station soon. The President also mentioned about how the government is encouraging Digital India, AI and creators economy and creating new platforms for the same.
बीते 11 वर्षों में देश की आर्थिक नींव बहुत मजबूत हुई है। दुनिया में अनेक प्रकार के संकटों के बावजूद भारत दुनिया की फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग मेजर इकोनॉमी बना हुआ है। भारत ने महंगाई दर को कम रखने के अपने रिकॉर्ड को और बेहतर किया है। इसका सीधा फायदा देश के गरीब और मध्यम वर्गीय परिवारों को हो रहा है। मेरी सरकार ने नीतियों के कारण देशवासियों की आय बढ़ी है, बचत बढ़ी है और खरीद शक्ति में भी वृद्धि हुई है।
Talking about Nari Shakti, President said that India was moving forward with the mantra of women-led development and how the various schemes are contributing to women empowerment. She also mentioned about the blind women cricket team winning the World Cup.
मेरी सरकार की प्रगतिशील सोच और नीतियों के परिणाम स्वरूप देश के हर महत्वाकांक्षी क्षेत्र में महिलाएं तेजी से आगे बढ़ी है। इसी दिशा में कुछ ही महीने पहले देश ने एक और बड़ा माइलस्टोन हासिल किया है। राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा अकादमी यानी एनडीए में महिला कैडेट्स का पहला बैच पास आउट हुआ है। इससे ये विश्वास और मजबूत हुआ है कि देश के विकास और सशक्तिकरण में नारी शक्ति सबसे आगे खड़ी है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has praised the President's address to both the houses at the commencement of budget session of Parliament. The Prime Minister posted on X, and I quote, "The budget session of Parliament commenced with Rashtrapati Ji's inspiring address to both houses. In our parliamentary traditions, this address has a special importance as it spells out the policy direction and collective resolve that will guide our nation's developmental journey in the coming months. Today's address was comprehensive and insightful. It reflected India's remarkable development journey in recent times while showing a clear direction for the future. The emphasis on building a Vikasit Bharat was perfectly captured, reflecting our shared aspiration of building a strong and self-reliant nation." The address also covered a wide range of themes highlighting sustained efforts for farmers, youth, the poor and downtrodden. It reaffirmed our collective commitment to further speed up the reform express and the emphasis on innovation and good governance. In the run-up to the budget, it is apt to take a look at the state of the economy. Over the past 2 years, the Indian economy has weathered global headwinds with stability, supported by stronger capital flows and a robust financial system. Yet, households continue to seek relief and industry leaders call for support and reforms as expectations are high. India is well positioned to turn macroeconomic stability into acceleration, shaping not just the year ahead, but India's long-term trajectory toward a Vikasit Bharat by 2047. More in this report.
As February 1 draws near, anticipation builds for the Union Budget 2026. Macroeconomically speaking, India stands at a moment of strength. Over the past 2 years, the economy has shown resilience with growth steady, inflation manageable, and public finances credible. The financial system is stable and external balances are improving, supported by stronger capital flows.
India remains not just the fastest growing major economy, but our macroeconomic, it's a very benign, very stable climate, means that our growth is likely to continue. Our domestic demand is what is driving a lot of this growth.
Growth momentum is expected to hold steady in FY 2026-27, averaging around 7%. Inflation, meanwhile, has moderated to 1.33%, holding well within the Reserve Bank's comfort zone of 4%. Urban and rural households are shoring up domestic demand, but would expect relief all the same for that momentum to continue. Macroeconomic stability has been achieved, but investors expect structural reforms to continue. Industry leaders are calling for policy support in renewables, innovation, and MSMEs.
When you have crisis, countries will try to take advantage of the crisis. And we are seeing that happening. And I think that's why it is an opportunity for India to rise.
Government has already signaled intent, approving fresh equity infusion into SIDBI to boost credit flow to small businesses. Expectations go further: tax relief for the middle class, incentives for manufacturing, and measures to sustain India's role as a resilient hub in a shifting global trade order.
What the FTAs are designed to do is to facilitate the development of international manufacturing supply chains in India. From my perspective as an economist, that's the most important goal for FTAs, which means that we have to have FTAs with the developed countries because our economies are complementary.
Analysts expect focus on fiscal discipline, capital flows, and reforms that can sustain growth momentum while keeping inflation in check. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will likely take macroeconomic stability to acceleration. As has been the case in the past, this budget is expected to not just shape the year ahead, but provide a roadmap for India's economic trajectory to a Viksit Bharat by 2047. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. European presidents conclude a successful visit to India, which resulted in 13 rich outcomes, including the India-EU Free Trade Agreement. Future Food 500 Summit is underway in Dubai as part of the Gulf Food 2026 exhibition, with India participating as the partner country. You're watching DD India Live. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar and 4 other persons died after an aircraft carrying them crashed in Pune district of Maharashtra Wednesday morning. The aircraft met with an accident during landing in Baramati, 100 kilometers from Pune. According to flight radar, the flight took off from Mumbai at 8:10 a.m. and it disappeared from radar around 8:45 a.m. Preliminary reports are unclear whether it was a crash landing or a technical failure. The Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau team will investigate the crash. President of India Draupadi Murmu expressed sorrow on the sudden demise of Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra Ajit Pawar. Taking to social media platform X, President Murmu said, and I quote, The news of the death of several people, including Maharashtra's Deputy Chief Minister Shri Ajit Pawar in a plane crash in Baramati, Maharashtra, is extremely tragic. The untimely demise of Ajit Pawar ji is an irreparable loss. He will always be remembered for his special contribution to the development of Maharashtra, especially in the cooperative sector. I express my deep condolences to his family, supporters and admirers. May God grant strength to the families of all others who lost their lives in this accident to bear this blow." Unquote. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also expressed grief over the sudden demise of Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra Ajit Pawar. Referring him to as Ajit Dada, the Prime Minister said that the late leader made a big contribution, big contributions in the development of Maharashtra and India, especially in uplifting rural lives.
आज सुबह ही महाराष्ट्र में दुखद विमान दुर्घटना हुई है। इस दुर्घटना ने महाराष्ट्र के उप मुख्यमंत्री अजीत पवार जी और कुछ साथियों को हमसे छीन लिया है। अजीत दादा ने महाराष्ट्र और देश के विकास में अपना बड़ा योगदान दिया है। विशेष रूप से गांवों के जीवन को बेहतर बनाने के लिए उन्होंने हमेशा आगे बढ़कर काम किया। मैं अजीत पवार जी के परिवार के प्रति संवेदना व्यक्त करता हूं। जिन साथियों को हमने इस हादसे में खोया है, इस पीड़ा की घड़ी में हम सभी उनके परिजनों के साथ हैं।
European Council President Antonio Costa and President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen have concluded their landmark three-day state visit to India. The visit resulted in 13 rich outcomes, including the India-EU Free Trade Agreement and a defence pact under the Security and Defence Partnership. The Ministry of External Affairs, in a social media post, said these outcomes will enhance the depth and breadth of India-EU strategic partnership. Further, the decisions will enhance market access for our goods and services, create more jobs and opportunities, and support the progress of our peoples. Especially the FTA, which is expected to substantially scale up trade, enhance export, and integrate Indian businesses more deeply into the European and global value chains. Under the FTA, European exporters will save up to €4 billion a year in duties, and EU exports are expected to more than double over time. Overall, the FTA is expected to create a free trade zone encompassing almost 2 billion people. DW correspondent Chiponda Chimbelu joins us now with more on that deal and on how the EU is working to expand its relationships with other regions. Hi Chiponda, how are you doing first of all?
Very well, thank you. Hope you're well too.
Yeah. What is the latest that you are picking up, and how significant is the EU-India Free Trade Agreement?
Well, you brought up a lot of numbers there, which of course do go to show that this is a very significant deal. The EU is actually India's biggest trading partner, and India is the EU's 11th biggest trading partner. So obviously increasing trade between those two partners will result in getting rid of those hurdles that we had, restrictions will result in more trade between the EU and this is of course why and India, and this is of course why the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen did call this free trade agreement with India the mother of all deals.
Yeah.
And that is of course in response to the current global environment that we have seen with the US tariffs and more export restrictions from China. That has of course brought India and the EU closer together. And then of course the deal does go beyond trade, which you already mentioned, with defense and security partnership as a part of it as well. So there is more going on there, and it's also still worth noting that this deal still needs to be ratified, and it isn't the only one that the EU of course is working on.
Definitely, Chiponda, you said that right. It's the mother of all deals. And But tell us, which other trade deals has the EU been working on?
Well, the EU's free trade agreement with Latin America, the Mercosur trade deal, which was actually signed on January 17, has also been in the news. And though that deal has hit another roadblock, and that is because the European Parliament is yet to formally vote on it, because last week, EU legislators voted to send parts of the agreement of the deal to the European Court of Justice for a legal check. Now, that is, of course, an agreement that has been negotiated for the last 25 years. And we do see, of course, that with the agreement with the Mercosur countries in Latin America, there has been support, but of course it also has a lot of critics here in Europe, especially from the farming community. There's been many farmers who fear that Europe could be flooded with cheaper and less regulated agricultural products from Latin America. So, of course, while the EU is deepening its ties with other partners across the world, getting these deals done isn't easy.
Right. And what more should we expect as Brussels pushes to diversify its global partnerships, Chiponda?
Well, the European Union already has preferential trade agreements with 76 countries around the world, and it is considering joining the so-called Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is a free trade bloc of a dozen Asia-Pacific countries and the United Kingdom. And a free trade agreement with Australia is also in negotiations, and that has been negotiated for years now. But there have been some disagreements over that, over concerns about agricultural products, much like the opposition to the Mercosur deal with Latin America. And of course, that was something that wasn't a major challenge when it came to negotiating that FTA with India. In that regard, we saw more of a concern from India regarding agriculture, which is, of course, a major employer in the country. Still, of course, the EU-India free trade agreement does really show that the old global trading order is gone, and we are seeing realignment with the EU pushing for deeper partnerships with other countries and regions across the world.
All right, we leave it there. Thank you so much. That was Chiponda Shimbelu joining us from Berlin. Thank you. The Future Food 500 Summit is underway in Dubai as part of the Gulf Food 2026 exhibition, with India participating as the partner country, bringing together global food industry leaders, entrepreneurs and investors at the Dubai World Trade Center. Discussions at the summit are centered on breakthrough product innovation, category shifts, AI-driven solutions, sustainability and startup-led transformation across regional and global markets. Industry leaders observed that the sector has undergone a recalibration following a peak in global investment in 2021 and a subsequent slowdown aligned with wider venture capital trends. While capital-intensive segments such as vertical farming, food delivery and insect protein have been most affected, investment flows have stabilized with a modest rebound expected between 2026 and 2027. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.